All right, so we're still going. Here's another match. I think what I'll do is add. This one's going to be pretty easy. So I think what I might do, because this is pretty straightforward, I'm just going to go up here with Camilla and bop some units and then get her out. I don't even think I'll need to get her out. I think I can get everyone else up here. This is a team that I made with Boulder because I realized that I needed a counter to Black Knight. So this is the team that was made. Needed a bonus unit, so Felix is here. I was considering Veronica, but Felix's mobility is too hard to ignore. The fact that he peers so well with warping through guidance, as opposed to, let's say, cav units, or what was the other option? Two cav units and what else was on that T banner? A flyer. That I'm not using. So Felix was the obvious choice. Or Thor. Thor would have been a good pick too, but I always use Thor, so let's give this Felix a go. And also, I don't think I'll be using him after this because he's unmerged, uninvested. I did ascend his speed because I was considering putting him on defense, but then I realized that not having DC or not being able to equip DC to him makes him very unreliable as a frontliner. So it just wouldn't work. So I had to give up on that idea for someone a little bit more bulky and someone that had distant counter. I guess I was considering giving him Prime, but for a unit that I had no investment in, it didn't feel like the right pick. They really should have given this Felix distant counter. I don't see why. It wasn't like that big of a deal on Brave Felix. It was good, but I mean, you could still, take him out even though he had it. I don't see why they decided to remove one of the better parts of his kits when giving him this ult. I guess it would have meant that this would have been a straight upgrade on Brave Felix instead of a side grade, but I mean, the distant counter is a big pain to not have. But yeah, we're gonna get through this pretty straightforward. Just gotta figure out the positioning and how I'm gonna get up there and who I'm gonna leave alive. I'm not quite sure about those things yet. Luckily, pass is on Camilla. Well, unluckily, because that's one of the things that makes her so obnoxious. So she won't have to worry about warp bubble. She can just go right up and do that still. And then we have the dance and the extra actions from Plumeria to help us out. I'll at some point probably reposition Lucina over the map. I think that's probably the best way to go. Or the Smite, I don't know. We'll see what happens. This map, I feel like this particular map is no longer good to build on, because there's so many good flyers. I feel like there's so many good flyers, and flyers are so especially Camilla, are so dominant right now that there's always a gap. That spot that I attacked from, it's usually undefended, or you can't. It's a very difficult spot to defend. So it's really hard to build a defense on this map that stops your opponent from hurting you, or going about a victory. And that's what I'm about to do here. So I don't think this map is any good anymore. It was before flyers became this dominant, but now that they are, I don't think this map is among the better options. It's still okay, but no, I wouldn't recommend using it. You'd rather have a trap there, or have the ability to place some type of structure there or something, instead of having it as a spot that the opponent can just warp to. Not a fan of this map anymore. What else is there to cover? I feel like like I said, there's nothing really going on. We're in the downward. I think there's summoner duels coming up this week, and I don't intend to play because they still haven't given us a solution to the Camilla problem. And man, that unit is toxic. I do not enjoy playing the game mode with her in it, because I still want to use Sita, and Sita cannot live a hit. Well, actually, I'm lying. Sita can live a hit, but typically Camilla has trample, and with how her kit is built, she's typically getting 2 hits in. And I can't, there's just no way, even with all the support that I've given to my Cheetah, she just doesn't have enough to win the speed check completely. I'd have to like get frozen or something else in there, and it's just difficult to do on turn 1. And also she's a blue unit, so odds are stacked against her to be able to win against the Camilla. So I don't know, and if I were to go that far in terms of just building her to win the speed check against Camilla, then the rest of the team would suffer, so it's not a great idea. So yeah, I'm not like a fan of playing some hurdles right now and the thing is, every match that you go into, it's Camilla. Like literally every match you load into, Camilla. I feel like I end up surrendering more matches than I play, which is like a huge waste of time, and it makes it incredibly difficult to actually build a team that can function, let's say in SDS or SDR, when all that you come against is the same opponents or the same 5 units. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, we've cleared this map. Probably going to skip this SDS yet again. It's going to be full of brave units, so enjoy those who are playing. GG's. Okay, welcome to another day of Ether Raids. We are taking on Lumina. Yet another straightforward map. Gotten lucky yet again. Like I said, this map is not the greatest. Look, there's so many spots to go up, man. It's so exposed. It's really exposed.
I am not sure.
If you're gonna do this, I'd probably recommend that you go with the castle that has the broken walls instead, since you can't really fly over those. But yeah, still nothing going on, or nothing that I wanted to bring up. I realized that I had the audio turned off, the game audio turned off in the previous videos that I recorded, so that's a big oopsie on my part. I'm gonna have to, well, when the recording comes out, you're gonna see that there's gonna be a soundtrack in the background playing. I don't know what song I'll put in yet, but there's gonna be a song from the game included, just to cover the dead air, because it's kind of awkward to just listen to me talk with no music playing. But yeah, Felix has been fun to use so far. Yunaka is still going strong. Dragon flowers, I've never had this much. I had like 5,000 dragon flowers of each type, and I was just like, wow, I'm not even using these anymore, because the units, there are no units to use it on, and even the old units, there's no point on using it on them, because they just die like right away. They can't survive the newest stuff that's in the game. So even if I were to give them 5 dragon flowers, they would just get blown up. It's not going to stop them from dying. So I had like 5,000, and I've never had that much before. So I did, decide to just use them, because why let them sit there? And I'm down to 1,000 of each. Just use them on a few select units. Some of my favorites. I don't know what unit to put out for Binding Whirls. I think I'm going to go with Nyx, since she has the most relevancy currently in the meta. Not the greatest build. I feel like I've given her fodder, so she's usable. And I guess if you wanted to update her, you can. You get the dragon flowers as well. So Nyx is it was between her or I don't know. I think it had to be her. I was considering going with my legendary Shez as an option, but I didn't do that. The mindset was that these 2 units can take out Black Knight, so I feel like that would be the most useful thing currently. But I don't know. I went with Nyx. Hopefully I get her, or hopefully someone picks her up, or is able to pick her up off the friends list, which is actually working. I've noticed that I'm getting way more players that are way more units that are on my friends list, and that's a great positive. I kind of messed this map up by ending Yunaka's action with my fat finger, and now I'm actually short in action to get that last pot, which I kind of wanted to get. So I think we might have to skip out on it, which means not the worst thing in the world. We're just short 1 pot, but kind of wanted to get it. Did update my defense. Looks like it's doing okay. I kind of wanted to change the map, but I couldn't think of a map that would function with the units that I had in mind. Like I said, Felix was one of the options, but it just didn't work out with him being on there. And then next week we go back to light season. We have, I believe, Freya as bonus, which, I mean, what can I really do with that? Aside from, have her try to Gale Force, but I don't know. I guess this weekend we'll be watching Summoner Duels live content to see who has the best pasta with the CYL units. I guess that's what we'll be watching this weekend, since SDS is coming on, but I'm not playing. But it's always fun to watch, see what's going on out there. GG's. See you in the next one. Welcome to another day of Ether Raids. We are taking on an opponent here with the Tana team. I have yet another day of nothing to talk about. So we're just going to go in. This one should be pretty straightforward. We're going to play and see where that takes us. Let me see if there's anything that comes to mind while we go through this. Shout out to Vanessa. Yet again, she'll probably miss this one. But yeah, we're going to go into this one pretty straightforward and see what comes up. I missed the stream for DTM's SD. Just wanted to see what was going on there. And then I did catch Mass stream. How do you say that with the apostrophe S? Anyway, yeah, I caught his stream. And really interesting. A lot of people were still, well, really, I guess it's down to who you match into, but a lot of people were still using like units from 6 months ago, which was quite bizarre. I thought there'd be way more teams with more meta units, but then also it kind of boils down to who you have in your barracks, so I was seeing quite a lot of old units, and then also some of the newer units were automatically getting banned by Mass, which of course I could understand, because who wants to deal with Camilla when you don't have to? So yeah, that was mainly what I was seeing. A lot of Camillas, a lot of old units, and then for the few that had the what's his face? My god, what is his name? The Byleth and the Jimbros and the Shirenas, for the few of those that I saw. Not that much creative, man, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, that game mode, SD, it's really a trading. It's gonna boil down to how well you trade sometimes, in terms of what unit you let die in exchange for what you will get, or who you take from the opposing team in exchange for sacrificing one of your units. And that's really how you end up winning a lot of the times, or even losing in some cases. So, I mean, even though we have a lot of these new and supposedly powerful units, the game mode at its essence, at its core, still boils down to the same function. And it was good to see that, but then also I still don't want to deal with Camilla. So it's good that there is an option to ban, but then I don't know what that means for SDR, because you can't ban Camilla. You just got to play with whatever you're up against. So that doesn't sound like it's going to be a fun week for SDR next season. But then also I guess you can just bring Jimbro, but then there's counters for that. Like, I saw way more Lokis and Thors. So yeah, the SD community has already figured it out. This one's done. Let's play another one. I got like 3. All right, here we go into the next match here. This one, we're going to do the same tactic. No near save to worry about, so we can Gale Force to our heart's content. Tana is still fantastic. I don't know what they could ever introduce that would make Tana not good. It sucks that she doesn't have pass built into her kit, but I mean, once she can get up there, she just does damage, and that's just fantastic. Eventually, everyone will be able to get Warp Bubble onto the team, so there's a challenge there. But all we're gonna do is go up here, Gale Force. I've really been enjoying Felix so far this week. He's been pretty fun to use. Still wish he had Distant Counter. I'd actually consider investing into him if he had Distant Counter in his weapon, but you know, whatever. They go so far and then they stop right at that spot that would make the unit good. And a lot of refines are like that. They give them like the stuff that like it's almost there, and it's just missing that one final ingredient that would make the unit like overpowered or actually usable. I feel that way about what they did with Legendary Nana. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, Tana doing her thing here. Felix and Edelgard are going to come up. Man, I really love this team. It's so easy to use. The only thing that's sometimes a challenge is getting the one cooldown so that you get the... Ooh, there we go. There we go. Felix, yes.
Know that I'm grateful.
Yeah, the only thing that's a challenge sometimes is getting the one cooldown so that you can get the Gale Force on Tana, but then it's neither here nor there, because there's so many actions on this team that it's sometimes not even needed for her to get Gale Force. That could be one counter to this team. Eventually, like I said, they're probably going to give out some type of cancer control type thing, maybe. I could see that happening, where you would lose an action, a whole action, not just get cancer controlled, but then lose an action if you have something like Gale Force. I could see that happening. You know, Heimdallr, like I said, but I could see them like, they normally like break things apart and put them into like the +1 movement, and now Sigurd has +2 movement, and first it was on Sigurd and then it was on Brave Alm. I could see them taking that from Heimdall and then putting it into a skill like Cancer Control to give Cancer Control more relevancy, but then also just to have the ability to remove an action more consistently. And I could see them doing that. That actually would make a ton of sense to make it something that is more accessible to all defenses, because that would be a very, very powerful thing to have on a defense, because it really would impact how you play the game in terms of the extra actions and Gale Forcing. But that's probably next year. We don't have to worry about that right now, I don't think. I haven't caught up. Well, actually, I did catch up on the story, and it wasn't... I don't know. It just isn't hitting. Valley is pretty, you know, interesting. She's an interesting character. I can say that at least. But same with Bolt. They're all pretty interesting. It's just the story itself, I'm just not like vibing with. I don't know. Kind of seems like there's no surprises. Like I kind of feel like I can see where it's going, and it just doesn't excite me. Some of the other stories were a little bit more exciting, I guess. This one is a bit more cohesive. Maybe they'll throw us for a loop like they did last time with Tree Man and him becoming a savage. Maybe they'll throw us a loop, but I don't see it. So yeah, we're gonna take this with Felix. Get out of here, get another match that we've been able to clear, and Felix has contributed immensely. GG's. See you in the next one. I'm gonna probably do a second video.